This is the Fierce Heart Alliance. Our focus is spirituality with purpose, exquisite self-care, and conscious community. Hi, I'm Summer Sophia Moon, and I've come here to heal myself and chew bubblegum. And guess what? I'm all out of bubblegum. So join me and my special guests as we share and learn how to love ourselves fiercely through self-care and explore the wisdom of the Harmonic Virtues. These virtues are based on the laws of the universe and channeled wisdom to cultivate more resiliency, purpose, and harmony through self-care and self-awareness. By listening, you are now a fierce heart too. Welcome to the Fierce Heart Alliance. Before I begin today's topic, I'd like to say thank you to our listeners and our subscribers. You're always welcome here. We'd like to honor the indigenous peoples whose land we reside. Thank you for showing us how to be in harmony with Mother Earth. Thank you to the ancestors and spirit guides and friends who are assisting us here today. May these words be a force for good and timelessly infused with light and held in the frequency of rose quartz to spread healing and peace in the world around us. If there's any words left unsaid, we trust in spirit to make things right and let it gently ease into our consciousness as necessary for understanding in our own time and in our own way for the highest and most benevolent outcomes for all. And so it is. Thank you. Hey Fierce Hearts, today's episode is the integration episode for the virtue of rhythm. Rhythm is located on the inner level of the harmonic virtues called the metaphysical level, which are building blocks of consciousness. Virtues are lessons that can impact our everyday life and relationships. They're ever evolving, ever shifting, and developing as we mature. And like a beautiful garden, they require some tending and some management to keep healthy and vibrant. Typically, the integration episode is only one episode. While working with the virtue of rhythm has been a very potent experience, and I now truly understand why I was guided to put rhythm where I did on the harmonic virtues. There's so much to this virtue that it's getting 2 integration episodes. Next week's episode, I'll share the channeling I received because it would be too much to add to this episode. Also, I like to talk about what was said in the channeling, and I feel like it can stand on its own. The time between episodes does speak to the spaciousness that rhythm needs sometimes in order for us to remember that there is beauty in the silence between the music notes, as they say. This week is about me sharing the musings. I got very poetic inspirations that call attention and speak to the various kinds of rhythm in our lives each day. It's like that Danish word Hygge that describes a feeling of coziness and an environment and a way of living, whereas rhythm is also a felt and lived experience to understand its true meaning. And as I'm writing this, I am listening to some organic downtempo music, and I find myself feeling into the rhythm as I type. And I'm asking how rhythm wants to be acknowledged. For starters, there's a presupposition of rhythm that there is movement of some kind, and something is created from that movement that elicits a pattern. Some patterns turn into cycles, and when they repeat, they create a rhythm. We started the harmonic virtues with the virtue of rhythm to learn about energy. Then inevitably, the energy changes. Rhythm is what happens when energy changes, transforms, and transmutes once, then again, and again, and again, leading to the virtue and the universal law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Rhythm is where, energetically, the rubber meets the road of transformation. The past few virtues of karma, love, and ego give purpose and direction to that transformation. When something transforms, there is a state from where it was and what it changes to. The void between the states is the virtue of rhythm. All energy has action potential, and rhythm is the action of that potential. It is the essence and the energetic exchange that helps usher the flow and cadence of cycles. It is the movement and energy needed to change from one season to another with the inherent wisdom that another season or phase of the cycle is sure to follow. It is the evolution of life from maiden, mother, queen, and crone, or son, father, king, and sage. Rhythm is found within our bodies down to the cellular level, with the life cycle of the cell throughout our lifespan. The body is constantly in the process of cycle regeneration, and it is the rhythm of our heartbeat's pulse that helps us know our heart's health and that we're alive. The same rhythm can soothe a baby to sleep. Rhythm of our breath can stimulate a stress response, or it can help us recover from that stress response based on how slow or rapid of a rhythm we inhale or exhale. It is the peristaltic rhythm of our intestines that help us digest nutrients and eliminate what is no longer serving us through the cycles of ingestion, digestion, and evacuation. It's the repetitive cycle of motion of our legs that move us through the world. It is the auspicious twilight before morning and night, naturally signaling to our circadian rhythm. During the sunrise, it stimulates nature to greet the day, and it is the sunset as the sun fades. It signals that it's time to get cozy and it's time for sleep, or for some animals, that it's time for the hunt. It is the cyclical nature of the seasons and the phases of the moon. It is the tides that respond to those moon phases and reminds us that everything is not just connected, but is interconnected. It is the tides that merge water and earth and the transition from elements. It is the sound of rain hitting the earth and the wind blowing through the trees, across the plains and the jet streams. It's the river that perpetually flows between the rocks, and over centuries and millennia, it carves out an incredible canyon. The sound of the ocean tide, bird songs, and the cadence of your step, or the words of a song or a poem. It is the sound of a song that connects you to your emotions, good or bad. It is what we hear and what we feel every day, and is the great mystery in motion. How rhythm flows is like nectar to our senses, because we don't just hear sound, we feel it as well. It is the beat and sounds that bonds generations and cultures. It can break us open and it can help us heal. It can be individual and it can unite the world. It can be a time capsule or a time machine going back to the times of the song's origin or the memory that that song evokes. It is the motion of dancers and athletes moving their body through gravity, and it's the repetitive nature of rhythm that takes you to new depths in places you've yet to explore within yourself, but have existed all along. This could be done through music and dance and art of all kinds, applications and tools. A genre of music I really like is house music, and I really like how it makes me feel. To some, it's just noise and annoyingly repetitive, and I totally get it. Some of it is, but it's all in perspective to our inner rhythms. Some songs speak to me, and as soon as I hear them, I feel all the feels, and I love that. Music and dancing are a great way to integrate and work with the virtue of rhythm. I never considered myself much of a dancer, but as I've walked my personal journey, I'm finding my love of rhythm in dancing and rhythmic music. To me, it opens my heart and it connects me to my intuition and to who I am without my mind making up stories or drama. In the previous month, we spoke about polarity being opposing forces. Rhythm is the space that resides between those forces. Rhythm is the flow between expansion and contraction. It can be chaotic or it can be harmonic. Either way, it will impact us. Rhythm is the catalyst for evolution, big and small. Rhythm exists in our consciousness and beyond our consciousness. My guest last week was Chavito Kawa, and he spoke so profoundly about the necessity of presence with rhythm. His time in nature, he was able to be present with the river expanding and contracting based on the time of day, and that our presence helps us become aware of the rhythms in our lives that exist all around us. Rhythm just is. It just does what it always does, cycle after cycle after cycle, and we can become attuned to it. Our presence can help us become more aware of the cycles and the rhythms all around us, and in so many aspects of our daily lives. How does a drum or Tibetan singing bowl feel in your body? How long after it's gonged can you still hear the reverberations? When we're present, we can hear the initial sound, but we can also hear the sounds that continue to ripple. When we can recognize the rhythms in our lives, we can choose to work with them and see how we experience strife when we are resisting or struggling with them. That there is an ebb and flow to life, just like seasons, that there is a time for productivity and that there is a time for rest. Society has us believing that we need to be all things all the time, and it's simply not sustainable, and we've been kidding ourselves about it. I blame the dog-eat-dog mentality and the competitive nature of the patriarchy in Western society that has many people on a hamster wheel. There's a reason why the topic of burnout is so prevalent in people seeking other forms of employment, and we're seeing the current landscape of employment changing since COVID. There are hacks to heal and resolve feelings of burnout, and one of them is to assess your current situation. I noticed this when I started learning and becoming present to my energy level throughout the month. I started to track my cycle on an app and noticed that the week before menstruation, my energy and will to do a workout routine would tank, and I found it very difficult and defeating to maintain a workout program because of my energy fluctuation. Once I realized my energy ebbs and flows naturally with my cycle, I was able to work with it and opt for an easier workout on the weeks that I needed something a little bit lighter, like yoga and Pilates. I later found I had anemia, which added to my energy drop, and I got that handled, so there's less in intensity with the ebb and flow, but it's just my body's rhythm. And I also have random times of getting horrible sleep, and I'm tired, but I can't fall asleep. And I notice that this happens around the full moon. Small things like that we can tune into and learn more about how we are connected to nature and our surroundings. The point is to notice what you're resisting or struggling with and if there's any pattern that relates. The virtue of rhythm asks us to pay attention to the patterns in our lives and what cycles do you find for yourself? What cycles are you in? And are they healthy for you? Cycles or patterns lead to habits. Habits lead to beliefs, and beliefs are the motivation for our actions. So becoming aware of our patterns can help us choose what's right for us. The integration suggestion is for you to ask yourself, does the pattern make you happy or unhappy? Do you feel better or worse during certain seasons? And if so, how? Do you enjoy certain seasons over others, and why is that? What stage of your life's journey are you? What songs are sentimental to you or that you really enjoy? Is there a theme to them? What instruments do you like? Do you play instruments or do you want to play an instrument? And if you don't have an instrument or singing bowl, you can take a glass and tap it gently with a utensil and hear the ringing. Another way to integrate the virtue of rhythm is to dance, move, put some music on, move your body, and have an ecstatic dance sort of experience for yourself and see how your body responds to music rather than our mind saying, I need to move my body in this way. Let it be an organic experience. That's our episode for this week. Please like and subscribe. It helps this podcast more than you know. And you can follow the Fierce Heart Alliance on Facebook and Instagram for weekly inspiration. Check out our website at fierceheartalliance.com and you can get a free guide to work with the Harmonic Virtues for yourself. Next week is our Integration Part 2 episode where I share the channeling I've received about the virtue of rhythm. Take care, Fierce Hearts. Till next time.